Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and honoured guests. Good afternoon to you in Nur-Sultan. And welcome to the final session of the AIFC Law Conference. I do hope that you have found the various sessions useful. We've had contributions on strategic investment agreements, on legal services regulation, on mergers and acquisitions, and most recently on the AIFC Court and International Arbitration Centre. Our purpose in this final session is to summarise the achievements of the AIFC over the last year, that is, since the last year's AIFC Law Conference, which was also held, as this one is, online. And we will take things forward from the Declaration of 2020, which was approved this time last year. And we'll seek to look ahead to the tasks for next year, and I hope next year's achievements as well. When I've said a few words, I will ask Chris Kenny to speak for his advisory panel on legal regulatory matters, and then I will ask Mark Beer to speak for his advisory council on the development of legal technology and to introduce the draft declaration which we expect to approve and which will be circulated hereafter. First, however, a word or two from me on the Legal Advisory Council, which I have the honour to chair. Our main initial function was to oversee the preparation of the initial general legal framework and associated other regulations, and that task has now evolved into a phase of revision and improvement, mainly at the initiative of the frontline bodies such as the AIFC Authority and the AFSA, the regulatory authority. In that context, we have been involved in changes to corporation law in its various aspects and other lesser changes to regulations. The LAC also helped with the drafting and finalization of a book on the law of the AIFC, which was launched recently at this very conference. We've also been, in the LAC, deeply engaged with Chris Kenny's panel in the evolving work to create a sensible and workable system for the regulation of legal professional firms and individuals. Next year for us, it will be more of the same, and I foresee possible changes to the AIFC controls to combat money laundering in advance of an international assessment of the topic for Kazakhstan as a whole. Meanwhile, however, please may I invite Chris Kenny to address us on the legal professional initiative, which has already been discussed in this conference in a session at 4 p.m. on Thursday. Chris Kenny, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Michael. As you say, we have already discussed the initiative on Thursday, and it was a real pleasure to be able to present the proposals of the panel on legal services regulation, which I have the honour to chair. The panel was established in 2019 with the aim of supplementing the AFSA's regulation of ancillary service providers and the court's jurisdiction over the lawyers appearing in front of it. What we have aimed to do is to produce proposals which first support the development of AIFC business and confidence in the AIFC as an institution. We've aimed to provide a common internationally accepted benchmark for the conduct of lawyers and find ways of encouraging adherence to that best international practice. Above all, we've provided a platform we believe that will enable Kazakh lawyers to better engage in AIFC business. Importantly, we have sought to complement the supervision that the AFSA provides at an entity level, and also to avoid any real or perceived impact on the independence of the court. Throughout our work, we have been grateful for the personal interest and support of Governor Kalimbetov, to the Minister of Justice in Greater Kazakhstan and his officials, to members of the Kazbar Association, the court, its registrar, the arbitration centre, and above all, Michael, Mark, to you as my fellow chairman and to your panels. Our proposals are much better based as a result of the input from all of those bodies and all of those individuals. We believe that the voluntary comparatively light touch proposal we've put forward on the conduct of individuals to be overseen by an independent legal services board within the umbrella of the AFSA, will make a material contribution to the continued development of the legal profession and legal businesses within the AIFC as a whole. Our proposals are now being actively considered by the AIFC, with public consultation to follow shortly, and we trust implementation in the first quarter of 2022. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris. May I pass the baton straight away to Mark Beer to tell us about technology. He is the future. Chris and I are history. Mark, your floor.
That's incredibly kind of you. Thank you very much. Good morning to those who are out in the United States and the west of the world. Good afternoon to those in Europe and the middle, and good evening to all those in Kazakhstan, Central Asia and the east of the world. And this very much is a globalizing conference looking forward to the future of financial services, and today in particular, the future of the law and the future of justice. I'd very much like to echo the sentiments of two enormously eminent and experienced chairs of the other advisory councils, Mr. Blair QC and Mr. Kenny, and to recognise the extraordinary work that they have done in the development of AIFC and its jurisdiction. And I'd also like to recognise the work of all those on the three councils that we represent: the Legal Advisory Council, chaired by Mr. Blair QC, the Advisory Panel on Legal Regulatory Matters, chaired by Mr. Kenny, and the Advisory Council on the Development of Legal Technology, otherwise known as the LegalTech Advisory Council, which I have the pleasure to chair. On those councils are many volunteers who, for a passion for what AIFC represents and a passion for the area of law which they're involved in, contribute significantly their experience and their knowledge to advance AIFC. And I recognise all those on all of the councils who have worked so hard to position AIFC as a leader in so many elements of finance and the law. And the declaration, which will be published online shortly after this conference, goes into detail on the considerable achievements related to the AIFC and its legal environment since the last conference, as Mr. Blair said, in 2020. May I also commend Mr. Blair's book to you. He's too modest to do it himself, but an excellent book on the law of the AIFC, and it was kind of him to recognise the input of those others that supported it, but it would not be the genius of a book it is without his mastery, and I commend that book to all of you. And may I also recognise the work of the AIFC Court, as you know, led by Lord Mance, and the IAC under the chairmanship of Barbara Dolman QC, and also to recognise the hard work of all those in the registry. As many of you know, I worked in the DIFC courts for a number of years, and I can recognise the engine room of the courts and all those that are working in it, led by Christopher Campbell Holt. Can I also recognise those working so hard in AIFC in the development of the advisory councils, without whose input, guidance, and frankly hard work, the advisory councils would struggle to deliver even a fraction of the extraordinary achievements that they have managed to deliver over the past year. And those are the unsung heroes of the advisory council, certainly of the LegalTech Advisory Council, and in no particular order, may I recognise Asiet Sidikov, Baibut Dosmurzinov, and of course our own Almas Sirikuli. And may I pay a particular thanks to Almas. Almas has shaped our advisory council and led it and cajoled it and nudged it along. As I say, we're all volunteers in order to deliver some really remarkable outcomes. And I'm sad to say that Almas is leaving the advisory council and Nur-Sultan to take up a new career, a bright career in Almaty. And we wish him well. And on behalf of the entire advisory council, thank him for all that he has done. A really wonderful and remarkable lawyer with a very, very bright future. May I also recognise the vision of the AIFC governor, Mr. Kelimbetov, and the entire AIFC board, which supported the establishment of the LegalTech Advisory Council. And lastly, can I recognise all of the members of the Advisory Council for Legal Technology from all around the world, from all different backgrounds and all different sectors, who have worked so hard to deliver the work of the Council this year and going forward. Our Council was established and set up to reinforce the commitment of the AIFC to innovation. There's no question that the AIFC is one of the most pioneering, if not the most pioneering financial centre in the world. It takes strides where others take steps. It has in its short life, and for many of us involved in the financial centre, it feels like it's been in existence forever. But let us not forget that the AIFC only was set up in the very recent past. And yet in that time, it has established a number of regional firsts and indeed a number of world firsts. This is remarkable. One of those world firsts is the creation of the LegalTech Advisory Council. No other international financial centre has had the vision to set up an advisory council looking at law tech. Many have fintech advisory councils, but only Astana has a law tech advisory council. And this is a critical area of law. Investment and development is growing exponentially. It is to the legal system today what fintech was to the banking system 15 years ago. It brings sunlight. It brings sunlight to a profession and to a system which is for many citizens opaque, inefficient, and inaccessible. And to that extent, as Mr. Blair has said, for many citizens, it represents the future of the law and the future of justice. Access to justice for all, not just a sustainable development goal, but also a reality now as we see it developing across the world with legal technology on the rise. And I'm very proud to be spearheading this initiative at which the AIFC stands shoulder to shoulder with 3 other nations which are committed to legal technology: the United Kingdom, Singapore, and China, all of which are represented on our advisory council. Over the last year, we have done what I believe to be an enormous amount to promote the AIFC, its pioneering credentials, and the development of legal technology. For example, we have had a podcast series of 10 really remarkable speakers and thinkers about legal technology and access to justice and the future of law, and broadcast those podcasts not only within Central Asia, but around the world for people interested in the development of legal technology. The Advisory Council members have published articles about AIFC and the extraordinary work in AIFC in publications all around the world. Council members have presented at conferences about AIFC and the law tech environment. I know for one that it always seems to me that the conferences I speak at are held at 4 o'clock in the morning in the UK, but for others, I think there have been more gracious time slots. But at each of these events, Advisory Council members have spoken about the AIFC and the potential that it holds as a gateway to Central Asia. Entirely through the hard work of the team in AIFC, every 2 weeks we've published a digest of updates around the world in the area of legal technology, which have been dedicated through our own LinkedIn page to those around the world interested in legal technology, putting AIFC at the heart of, at the center of, the knowledge base for legal technology. We've helped the AIFC itself understand and develop their own legal tech initiatives, including a look at smart contracts for the use of leases, doing away with the need for physical signatures and ongoing validation, and allowing the contract to control the relationship rather than human intervention. Another regional first for AIFC, the creation of a law tech internship program, which the Advisory Council was delighted to support. And our members have developed and presented the Certificate of Legal Technology, a course run by the Academy of Law in AIFC with participants from all over the world. But we can't do this alone. We've had tremendous support, and I thank again those in the AIFC authority and in the AFSA. But we've reached broader, we've reached into Kazakhstan, because access to justice and an efficient legal system is not just an AIFC prerogative. It's something that belongs to every citizen of the world and every citizen of Kazakhstan. And we're delighted to have reached out to the Astana Hub and to start collaboration with them as to how we can develop legal technology for the benefit of Kazakhstan, and with other enterprises around the world, such as Oxford University's Deep Tech Dispute Resolution Lab, also looking at the use of AI and machine learning to deliver legal advice, legal support, legal counsel, and settlement tools in the most complex of legal disputes. And in terms of the future, there are two initiatives which I'd like to talk to you about. One is an initiative which we're soon to launch called Ask the Expert, where legal technologists from around Central Asia can submit questions by video about their idea, about their business, and members of the Advisory Council, I say again, who are all volunteers, have committed to give advice and support to those technologists, to those individuals, and to help them take an idea into, we hope, the first law tech unicorn in Central Asia, which we hope is housed in AIFC. And the last initiative that we're working on closely is a funding platform to connect funders from around the world, particularly in Silicon Valley, which are interested now in law tech, and entrepreneurs from across Central Asia, and bringing those two together across a platform to create law tech initiatives out of the AIFC in support of Central Asia and beyond. And for all of those initiatives, may I recognize the considerable work of all those on the Law Tech Advisory Council who have contributed so much to achieving those. At this point, may I ask if there are any questions that the audience would like to ask of Mr. Blair, Mr. Kenny, or myself in relation to the work of the advisory councils, a summary of which is contained in the declaration to which we've each referenced. I'll pause now in case there are any questions.
May I ask one question, if I'm allowed? This time next year, when you are, I hope, in this same seat as you now are, have you any foresight as to what achievements you will actually be able to mention apart from the two that you've just discussed? That's to say, the Ask the Experts and the funding platform. It'll be a long list, I'm sure.
I think it will be another long list, but I think the one that we're all most excited about, in addition to the rollout of legal technology programs in conjunction with our partners, I'm most excited about the ability to bring significant investment opportunities from around the world looking to find a home, investment opportunities that have never considered Central Asia as a gateway or as a hub for technology and knowledge, and to introduce those investors to the innovation and pioneering spirit of AIFC and the safe harbor that it represents when investing in technology that's being developed in the region, and to be able to have developed, all being well, a funding platform based in AIFC with funding opportunities from the West and from Central Asia, developing the talent of entrepreneurs, innovators and technologists throughout Central Asia. That would be a significant achievement on our part. It will require significant effort on everybody's part, the support from the advisory councils, guidance and knowledge, the support of the AFSA and the AIFC, but together, collectively, I think we could generate something which is not only representative of the financial centre and all it stands for, but also helps to support pioneering entrepreneurs, as I say, to take the first idea from $1 to $1 billion as a unicorn out of AIFC.
Thank you very much. That's been very helpful. I understand that there are no other questions. So I think now it is only remains for us three to indicate on this website that we approve the declaration that will be circulated very shortly hereafter. I am happy to say that I approve it, and I ask whether, Chris, you are willing to say the same.
I am indeed.
And Mark, what about yourself?
Gentlemen, on the basis that you've approved it, it is absolutely something I am happy to approve.
Well, I think we can take it that it is approved by the three of us, and we look forward to seeing it electronically or in another form fairly soon. I'm about to close the session, but I have a rather ignorant and stupid question to put to anyone who is in Kazakhstan. There is a football match happening later tonight with a team known as England, which I'm about to say I think I may have to support. I think we are in a position to say that we have accomplished this session. We've run out of time. We have managed to conclude our business early, and I think it's now time for me to thank the contributors, particularly Chris and Mark, for their contributions, and to thank the staff for all the work that went on behind. And I now declare this session closed.